All right, so today we're going to take a deep dive into commercial real estate internships.
Yeah.
And, this is something that a lot of folks listening are probably thinking about right now,
Yeah, yeah.
especially as we sort of, head into that time of year where
Yeah.
internships are opening up.
Yeah.
And we found this great blog post that's all about
Yeah.
helping people land these internships.
Hmm.
And what's really cool is that it has these sample questions and answers.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just like general advice. It's like, here's the question, here's how you should answer it.
So it's really practical.
Super practical, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I thought maybe we could just kind of go through some of these questions and answers
Yeah, sure.
and sort of, dissect them a little bit and see what works.
Definitely.
And maybe give folks some extra tips.
Yeah.
So let's start with the one that I think everybody dreads, which is
Oh, yeah.
the tell me about yourself.
Tell me about yourself.
Because oh gosh,
Where do I even begin?
where do I even begin, right?
Yeah.
And the sample answer here is really good. I think it
Mhm.
it emphasizes passion, it connects skills to the field.
I think that's so important.
But I'm curious from your perspective,
Yeah.
what are interviewers really looking for in that initial response?
You know, I think it goes beyond just like listing your accomplishments.
Right.
It's about that genuine connection to the field.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know, did you have that aha moment where you're like, this is it. This is the industry for me.
Yeah.
Did you read a book?
Yeah.
Did you walk past the construction site and be like,
Right.
wow, I want to do that?
Yeah.
Or did you, have some sort of experience that really sparked that interest?
Right.
Interviewers want to see that spark.
That authenticity.
Yeah, that authenticity. Like,
Yeah.
you really care about this.
Not just reading off a resume.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
That makes a difference.
Yeah. So then the next question they tackle in this blog post is the why this company question.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
And I feel like a lot of people default to
Mhm.
oh, I love your work and I admire you.
Right, I've been following you for years.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And which is fine, but I feel like there's got to be a deeper strategy there.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think?
I think research is key here.
Okay.
Like, really dig into the company's website.
Mm-hmm.
Look at their projects,
Yeah.
their values,
Right.
what resonates with you.
Yeah.
Is it their focus on sustainable development?
Yeah.
Maybe their innovative approach to urban planning
Mm-hmm.
or their commitment to community engagement, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Find those points of connection and then connect those dots back to your own aspirations.
Right.
It shows you've done your homework
Yeah.
and that you're not just looking for any internship.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking for the right internship for you.
The right fit.
The right fit, exactly.
Okay. So we've established passion. We've established alignment. But now let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Right.
The skills.
The skills, yeah.
So the sample answer here talks about, analytical skills, research, financial modeling,
All the buzzwords.
all the buzzwords, right?
Yeah.
But let's be real for a second. How do these actually translate into skills for someone who might not have
Right.
a ton of direct experience yet?
Yeah, that's a great point
Yeah.
because it's one thing to say, I have strong analytical skills.
Right.
But it's another thing to actually demonstrate it.
Exactly. Yeah. How do you actually show that?
Right. And I think this is where the art of storytelling comes in.
Okay.
So think back to projects you've worked on even outside of real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever have to analyze data, make a recommendation, solve a problem?
Right.
Maybe you led a group project,
Mm-hmm.
organized an event,
Yeah.
or even just did some deep research for a class presentation.
Right.
These are all opportunities to showcase those core skills in action.
Okay.
So, for example, instead of just saying, I have strong analytical skills,
Mm-hmm.
you can say, in my marketing class, I analyzed consumer trends to develop a targeted advertising campaign.
Oh, I see.
Something specific that shows you can actually apply those skills.
Right. So it's not just I have the skills, it's I've used the skill.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about painting a picture of your capabilities
Yeah.
using real-world examples.
Okay. And I'm guessing the same principle applies to teamwork.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Teamwork is huge in commercial real estate.
Yeah.
And the blog emphasizes collaboration.
Right.
But how do you balance being a team player while still highlighting
Yeah. That's a good question.
your individual contributions?
Right. Like you don't want to come across as
Yeah, you don't want to be the lone wolf.
the lone wolf. Right.
Right.
You also
But you also want to stand out.
want to stand out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like finding that balance is key.
It is. It's about showcasing your specific contributions while still emphasizing the collaborative effort.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you took the initiative to research a new market, or you developed a creative solution to a logistical challenge.
Yeah.
Whatever your role was, highlight how you effectively contributed to the team's overall success.
Okay.
It shows you understand the dynamics of teamwork
Mm-hmm.
and that you can thrive in that environment.
Okay, so we've covered the basics, but now it's time to get a little technical.
Technical, yeah.
Right? The blog dives into questions about valuation cap rates, lease types,
Mm.
all the things that can sound a little intimidating if you're new to the game.
I get it. It can seem like a whole different language.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess the good news is
Yeah.
the interviewers aren't expecting you to be a
Yeah.
seasoned expert at this stage.
They just want to see if you grasp the fundamentals.
Yeah.
And that you're willing to learn.
And that you're eager to learn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start with valuation.
Okay.
The blog mentions different approaches like income capitalization and sales comparison.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm still a little fuzzy on what these actually mean
Okay.
in practice. Sure.
Can you break it down for us?
So let's break it down.
A little bit.
So imagine you're trying to figure out how much that skyscraper downtown is worth.
Okay.
One approach, income capitalization, is all about looking at the building's income potential.
Mm-hmm.
How much rent does it generate? What are the operating expenses?
Okay.
By analyzing these factors, you can estimate how much someone would be willing to pay
Right.
for that stream of income.
Okay. So it's like you're assessing the earning power
Exactly.
of the building.
The earning power of the building.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
But what about the other approach, the sales comparison?
So think of it like this. If you were selling your house,
Hmm.
you'd probably look at what similar houses in your neighborhood recently sold for,
Right.
right?
Right.
The sales comparison approach in commercial real estate is similar.
Okay.
You compare the building you're evaluating to similar properties that have recently sold,
Okay.
taking into account factors like location, size, amenities, and market conditions.
Right.
It's about finding a benchmark.
To determine a fair market value.
Got it. So you're using real-world data to kind of gauge the
Exactly.
value.
Real world data is your friend.
Okay, cool. Now let's tackle another tricky term,
Okay.
cap rates.
Cap rates. Oh, yeah.
The blog defines it as net operating income divided by purchase price,
Mm-hmm.
which is great.
Yeah.
But I'm struggling to see the bigger picture here.
Okay.
What's the significance of a cap rate?
So cap rates are fascinating because they give you a snapshot of a property's potential return on investment.
Okay.
A higher cap rate generally suggests a higher potential return,
Mm-hmm.
but it could also mean higher risk.
Oh, I see.
It's like comparing interest rates on different savings accounts.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
You want the highest return,
Right.
but you also need to consider the level of risk involved.
Okay, so it's kind of like a quick way to assess
Yeah, a quick snapshot.
the profitability,
Exactly.
okay, of different properties.
Yeah, even if they're in completely different markets.
That's cool. Okay, so cap rates are helpful.
Cap rates are helpful.
All right, now let's move on to lease types.
Okay.
The blog talks about gross leases and net leases.
Yeah.
This one always trips me up.
It's easy to get those confused.
Can you walk us through the key differences?
Sure. So imagine you're renting an office space for your startup.
Okay.
With a gross lease, your rent covers everything.
Oh.
The space itself, utilities, maintenance, property taxes, all included.
Easy peasy.
It's a simple, all-inclusive package.
Okay.
But with a net lease, you pay the base rent
Mm-hmm.
plus your share of those additional expenses.
Okay.
So you'd be responsible for a portion of the property taxes, insurance, and maintenance costs.
So gross lease, more straightforward.
Yeah,
Net lease, more control over expenses.
you get it. Each type has its pros and cons.
Right.
And the best option depends on your specific needs and financial situation.
Okay, great. Another term that comes up in the blog is due diligence,
Due diligence.
which sounds very important.
Very important.
But what does it actually entail?
So due diligence is a crucial step in any commercial real estate transaction.
Okay.
It's all about minimizing risk and making informed decisions.
Okay.
So imagine you're considering buying a shopping center.
Okay.
Due diligence involves thoroughly examining every aspect of that property,
Wow.
from reviewing lease agreements and financial statements
Mm.
to inspecting the physical condition of the building and understanding zoning regulations.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You're essentially looking for any red flags or hidden issues
Mm-hmm.
that could impact the value or profitability of the investment.
So it's like being a detective,
Exactly like a detective.
trying to uncover any potential problem
Uncovering all the clues
before you can
before you make that big commitment.
Wow.
And-
Okay.
yeah.
But with so much to consider, What are some key red flags to look for when evaluating a property?
That's a great question. One red flag could be high vacancy rates.
Okay.
If a lot of units are empty, it could signal a problem with the property itself, the location, or the management. Another thing to watch out for is outdated or poorly maintained infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
Are the HVAC systems up to code? Is the roof in good condition?
Right.
These issues can lead to costly repairs down the line.
Yeah, for sure.
You also want to pay close attention to the lease terms.
Mm-hmm.
Are the rents below market value? Are there any unfavorable clauses that could limit your flexibility as the owner?
Okay.
It's all about digging deep and making sure you fully understand the risks and opportunities associated with the property.
So it's not just about the numbers, it's about understanding the story behind the property.
The story, yes, exactly.
What's its history? What are the market trends in the area?
Yeah.
Who are the tenants? Are they happy?
Are they happy? Yeah.
It's about getting that full picture.
It's about getting the full picture
Okay.
and not just looking at the surface level.
Now let's move on to something that always makes me a little nervous in interviews.
Uh-oh.
Problem-solving questions.
The dreaded problem-solving question.
I know, right? The blog gives some examples like tenant default. Yeah. And evaluating an investment opportunity. But how do you even approach these scenarios
Right.
in a way that shows you can think critically and strategically?
Right, you're being put on the spot.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you're putting me on the spot. Let's see how I handle this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It's not about having a perfect prepackaged answer.
Okay.
It's about demonstrating your thought process, your ability to analyze the situation
Yeah.
and consider different options.
Right. So let's say a tenant defaults on their rent.
Okay, good example.
What are some steps you might walk through in an interview setting to show
Right.
you can approach this strategically?
Okay, so first you want to acknowledge that this is a serious situation,
Okay.
but that you wouldn't jump to conclusions or make any rash decisions.
Right.
You'd start by gathering all the relevant information.
Okay.
What does the lease agreement say? What's the tenant's history?
Right.
Are there any extenuating circumstances?
Okay.
Then you'd explore different options.
Yeah.
Maybe negotiating a payment plan, offering temporary rent relief, or as a last resort, considering legal action.
Right.
The key is to demonstrate a calm, problem-solving approach that prioritizes communication and understanding the full context.
So it's almost like a mini case study
It is like a mini case study.
where you're showing them you can think critically
Yeah, you're showing your thought process.
and weigh different options.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that you don't just jump to conclusions.
Now, what about those behavioral questions
Oh, the behavioral questions.
that dive into your personality,
Yeah.
your work ethic,
Your work style.
how you handle pressure?
How you handle pressure, yeah.
The blog touches on questions about managing large data sets, dealing with tight deadlines, staying motivated.
Yeah.
It feels like these are less about technical knowledge
Yeah.
and more about showcasing who you are.
Absolutely. These questions are all about getting a sense of your character,
Right.
your values, and how you operate in a professional setting.
Right.
This is where authenticity is paramount.
Right.
Don't try to be someone you're not.
Be yourself.
Be yourself. Reflect on your experiences. Be honest about your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And connect your answers back to the specific requirements of the internship.
Okay.
So, for example, if they ask about your experience handling large data sets, you could talk about a research project where you had to analyze a ton of information,
Right.
highlighting your attention to detail and organizational skills.
Right. So it's about showcasing your soft skills,
Exactly, your soft skills.
those intangible qualities.
The things that make you you,
Yeah. Okay.
that make you a valuable asset beyond just the technical expertise.
Now, one question that always throws me off is where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, yeah, the classic 5-year plan question.
Right. It feels like they're expecting a crystal ball prediction.
Yeah.
And honestly, who knows what the future holds?
Right, who knows?
So what do you say to that?
I think it's not about having a perfectly mapped out plan. It's about showing ambition, a growth mindset, and an understanding of potential career paths.
Okay.
So you might mention your interest in specializing in a particular area of commercial real estate, like property development or investment management.
Right.
Or maybe you see yourself taking on leadership roles and mentoring others.
Okay.
The key is to connect your aspirations to the opportunities available within the company.
So it's about aligning your personal goals.
Yeah, aligning your goals.
With the company.
The company's growth trajectory.
Growth trajectory, okay.
Exactly.
This is great. I feel like we've covered so much ground already.
I know, right? We've gone from nailing those initial interview questions to understanding technical terms to showcasing problem-solving skills.
I'm exhausted.
Me too.
But I imagine some listeners might still be feeling a little overwhelmed.
For sure.
So what's one piece of advice you would give to someone feeling nervous about those upcoming interviews?
I think the most important thing is to remember that preparation is key.
Okay.
Research the companies. Practice your answers.
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly, believe in yourself.
Yeah.
You've got this.
You've got this? Okay.
Yeah.
So listeners, this deep dive has given you the tools, but now it's your turn to put them into practice.
That's right.
So go forth, future real estate titans.
Yes.
Research those companies and rock those interviews.
Rock those interviews.
We can't wait to see what you accomplish.
We're rooting for you.
Yeah.
It can feel like a bit of a test to see how you think on your feet.
Right.
But the important thing to remember is you don't have to have the perfect answer.
Okay.
It's more about showing how you think.
Okay.
How you analyze a situation.
Mm-hmm.
How you sort of weigh different options.
Okay.
So let's take that tenant default example.
Yeah.
First of all, you want to acknowledge that it's a serious situation.
Right.
But you also want to say, I wouldn't jump to conclusions. I wouldn't make any rash decisions.
Okay.
I'd want to gather all the information first.
Yeah.
What does the lease agreement say? What's the tenant's history?
Yeah.
Are there any extenuating circumstances?
Right.
And then, once you have all that information,
okay,
you can start exploring different options.
Yeah.
Maybe negotiating a payment plan, offering some temporary rent relief.
Okay.
Or, as a last resort, considering legal action.
Okay.
But the key is to show that you have a calm and problem-solving approach.
Right. It's not just about, kicking the tenant.
No. It's about understanding.
It's about trying to find a solution that works for everyone.
Right.
And prioritizing communication.
Okay, so it's almost like you're treating it as a mini case study.
It is a mini case study.
Right, where you're showing them your thought process.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Now, what about those behavioral questions?
Oh, the behavioral questions. The ones that really try to dive into...
Yeah.
Who you are, how you work.
Your personality.
Your personality, yeah.
Yeah.
So the blog mentions questions about, how you manage large data sets.
Right.
How you deal with tight deadlines, how you stay motivated.
All the fun stuff.
All the fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
It feels like those are a little less about the technical knowledge.
For sure.
And more about, showcasing who you are as a person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think those questions are really about getting a sense of your character, your values, how you operate in a professional setting.
Okay.
And I think the most important thing here is to be authentic.
Yeah.
Don't try to be someone you're not.
Be yourself.
Be yourself. Reflect on your experiences.
Yeah.
Be honest about your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And really try to connect your answers back to the specific requirements of the internship.
Okay.
So, for example, if they ask you about handling large data sets, you could talk about a research project you did.
Right.
Where you had to analyze a ton of information.
Okay.
And highlight your attention to detail your organizational skills.
So it's about showcasing those soft skills.
Yeah, those soft skills are so important.
The ones that aren't always easy to quantify, but that are so valuable.
But they're so important in the workplace.
Okay.
Being able to communicate effectively, work well with others.
Yeah.
Be a problem solver.
Those are the things that
make a difference.
Okay, now one question that always throws me off.
Okay.
Is the where do you see yourself in 5 years question.
Oh, yeah, the classic 5-year plan question.
Right, it's like, I don't know.
It's like they're asking you to predict the future.
Right, and who knows what's going to happen in 5 years.
Exactly. Who knows?
So what do you say to that?
I think, again, it's not about having a perfect plan.
Okay.
It's more about showing that you're ambitious.
Okay.
That you have a growth mindset and that you understand the potential career paths in the industry.
Okay.
So you might mention, I'm really interested in property development, or I'd love to get into investment management.
Okay.
Or, maybe you're interested in a more specialized niche.
Yeah.
But the key is to connect your aspirations to the opportunities that are available within that company.
So it's about aligning your goals with theirs.
Exactly. Aligning your goals with theirs.
Okay, wow. This has been really insightful.
I know, we've covered a lot.
We've covered a lot of ground from, those initial questions to those really technical terms, and now these kind of behavioral problem-solving questions.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about.
It is a lot to think about.
Yeah.
And I imagine some listeners might still be feeling a little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So what's one piece of advice you would give to someone who's feeling nervous about those upcoming interviews?
I would say the most important thing is preparation.
Okay.
Research the companies. Practice your answers.
Yeah.
And most importantly, believe in yourself.
You got this.
You got this.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah. It is. And it's all about going in there prepared.
Right.
And showing them that you've thought about these things.
Okay, yeah, and I think that's something that we've kind of touched on throughout this whole deep dive.
Yeah.
Is that it's not necessarily about having all the right answers.
Right.
It's about showing them that you can think critically and approach these things strategically.
Exactly. It's the thought process that matters.
Yeah.
They want to see how you approach a problem, how you break it down, how you consider different perspectives.
Right.
And that's what really sets you apart.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive on commercial real estate internships, what is one piece of advice that you would give to our listeners?
One piece of advice.
Who are, prepping for these interviews, maybe feeling a little nervous.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to remember that everyone starts somewhere. No one is born knowing everything about commercial real estate.
Right.
It's a field that you learn and grow in over time.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to ask questions.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to admit what you don't know. And most importantly, show your enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Let your passion for the industry shine through.
Be yourself.
Be yourself, exactly.
Awesome. Well, this has been an incredible deep dive.
It has been fun.
I feel like I've learned a lot.
Me too.
And I hope our listeners have too.
I hope so.
So to everyone out there who's on this journey of exploring commercial real estate, we wish you the best of luck.
Good luck.
And remember,
you got this.
You got this.
You got this.